هول اتنين شو؟ هول اتنين مين؟ بدي اعرفكم هلا على أسامة محمود. قصة كتير كبيرة، كتير مهضومين لذيذين، بيلعبوا اللعبة كتير منيح بيناتهم، very well balanced. محمود شو بيعمل؟ أسامة شو بيعمل؟ فتحوا اتنين كونسبت مش واحد، طحيني والكوفي شوب اللي حده. لا اخوات مهضومين لذيذين قراب على القلب، ضحكتهم حلوة وبيشتغلوا بشغف بشكل مش معقول. The secret ingredient is passion. والامريكان are connecting with the brand. يعني اغلبيه زبوناتهم بيجوا الامريكان اللي بيجوا بياكلوا ميديترينيان دايت او الميدل ايسترن فود. قصتهم كتير حلوه. هات قعدنا على الطاوله ونبلش نحكي.
So I was born and raised in New Jersey. My family's from Syria. أبوي, my father's from Sham, my mom's from Halab. And so the cool thing is every summer يعني كنا ننزل على سوريا يعني between Sham and Halab, and my favorite thing to do was always, you know, getting shawarma from يعني all the different corner spots. And so my childhood also يعني Patterson, New Jersey, it's all Arab. So the cool thing is there's a lot of restaurants, like a lot of Arabic restaurants and whatnot, and يعني محلات يعني حلويات. And so the cool thing is يعني, you know, even though I was born and raised here, it really felt like I grew up in the blad, خاصة because of Patterson. So that was, you know, always was cool. And then I moved here to San Diego. I'm trying to remember what year exactly. I was even almost like 18. And so I went to school here. I went to SDSU. I changed my major a couple times, but I graduated with a criminal justice degree. So I was actually supposed to be a police officer before this, and I had just gotten accepted to the academy. And Usama actually at the time, and I'll let him share his story, was already at Harvard Law School and took a break so that way we can kind of start this idea. So the idea behind Tahini started off, I want to say almost as a joke. And then when I moved here, also something, if you guys are not familiar with like East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, New Jersey, New York, we talk a lot of crap. So when we moved here, Usama was one of the first guys I met. So we kind of hit it off right away, became best friends. And I used to always talk crap, like, oh man, San Diego has no good Arabic restaurants. And this is before, all the like, a lot of the Arabs came and like the influx of like the refugees and whatnot. So there wasn't as many Arabic restaurants when I first moved here. So I used to always talk crap to Usama, like, hey man, like there's no good shawarma spots, blah, 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 blah. Usama being a go-getter, right? Mashallah, Harvard Law School. So him being a go-getter, he was like, you know what, well, let's do it ourselves. So it started off as a joke. But if you know, we're talking about it. And then we just like, you know what, let's just give it a shot. And so we started the farmer's market back in 2013. So we started the farmer's market in 2013. We didn't have a lot of money. Neither of us really come from a lot of money. And they say 80% of restaurants fail within the first 2 years. So we didn't like those odds. So we decided, you know what, let's start at farmer's market, small investment. I think بلشنا one shawarma machine, a tent. Yeah, we only did chicken shawarma in the beginning. So just one shawarma machine, a tent, a couple tables, things like that. And we got started. 2013, we started our first farmer's market, and it was a fun learning experience. And the reason why we wanted to start the farmer's market is because, between the experience, the money, and such a large amount of restaurants failing so quick, so we wanted to just kind of take it slow. And alhamdulillah, like the farmer's market, it blew up. And then بعد the farmer's market, we used to set up at a gas station here in Pacific Beach, and you're talking maybe 4 hours, 5 hours. We're selling out of 100 pounds of chicken, shawarma, beef shawarma, falafel, and this is at the side of a gas station, like under a tent. And surprisingly, we did really well. People loved the concept. People really enjoyed everything. So at that point, I feel like we kind of learned what we wanted to learn, and then we just started looking for like our first brick and mortar, which took us about a year and a half to do, because بصراحة either we're coming from farmer markets, so a lot of like landlords don't see that as like experience, especially in a brick and mortar. And second, some of these landlords weren't the friendliest towards Arabs, if you know what I mean. So that kind of worked a little bit against us. But alhamdulillah, when the time was right, we got this place where Finjan is. So that's where we started in 2017. And within our first year, I think we winded up being on Yelp's top 100 restaurants in America, which was awesome. That was within our first year. A few months later, we got hit up by the Food Network. Guy Fieri, that Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives show. So he came through and filmed. And that was kind of funny because we got an email, I want to say Friday night. Like, I still remember, it was like 7:30 at night. And Usama was telling me, like, hey, Mahmoud, like, you know, we got someone reached out to us from the Food Network to be on an episode of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. So I told Usama, I was like, mustahil, kazzab, like, don't let jawab, like, don't respond. Somebody's trolling us. And so he was like, well, what's the worst that's going to happen? They're not asking for information. Thank God he replied to the email. And then that was Friday, and the producers flew in Monday. And Monday, Tuesday, we shut the store down and filmed. So that was kind of cool because that was like a year and a half into being open. And so we winded up outgrowing the space, and we took over...
We took over
2 years?
It was after 2020. We opened 2021. We took over 2021 also.
Okay, October. Yeah. So almost 2 years?
Here?
Yeah.
Almost 3.
Whew, time flies.
Yeah.
So almost 3 years ago now, this October will be 3 years, we moved over here. It was double the space. And then about a year and a half ago, we turned our old space to a coffee shop, which we call Finjan. I feel like I threw a lot out there.
My name is Usama. I was actually born in Baltimore, but I was raised in San Diego. I've been here since I was 3 years old. So I grew up in San Diego, went to school here locally. Actually down the street I grew up from like this location. So I've always known these neighborhoods pretty well. And I ended up actually completing my law degree at Harvard. While I was there, we decided to actually kind of go down this route and chase this dream. And it was something that we had talked about for a long time. And it was something that we really wanted to chase. It's very different than the educational path that I took in my life. But it's something that I'm happy we ended up doing because I think so often we get caught up just talking about like, oh, it wouldn't be so cool to do this, wouldn't it be so cool to do that, and then we decided to take the risk and jump into it. And so it's been good. My family is originally from Egypt, so even growing up, we went to Egypt every so often. I haven't actually been back in like 13 years now, but it's been a while. But always growing up, Egyptian culture, Egyptian food was always close to heart. And so that was something I think for us really doing this was a way to reflect our own upbringing. We both are the products of a post 9/11 America. I mean, Mahmoud mentioned growing up in Jersey. I mean, 20 minutes from Manhattan right after 9/11. And I don't think you can be our age and grow up in America and not have that be the pivotal moment of your life. As to like kind of, you remember life before 9/11 and life after 9/11. And I think for us it became really a way in which Tahini became a reflection of our dual like Arab American identity. And that was something that we always kind of wanted to produce for folks. And from that kind of Tahini and Finjan were born. The original debate is falafel or طعمية.
Oh man, I think that was actually the first internal battle. يعني طبعا being from Syria, you know, I was aggressively, it has to be with hummus, and he wanted it with food. Should I tell it or do you want to tell it?
Sure.
So before we open, we like to be perfectionist. We're very OCD, as you'll find out later. So we did about like 7 or 8 soft openings.
Yeah, we did a few.
So we did a lot of soft openings. This was friends and family. Each one, 50 to 70 people, حسب what day it was on. And we were giving out free food. In return, we were asking for feedback, and it was anonymous, so that way they say whatever they want, and I won't be upset because I won't know who it came from. So before the soft opening, we were having this argument: hummus, falafel. How do we make the hummus or food? How do we make the falafel? So we did falafel. So at the soft opening, we did falafel A, B, and C with hummus, with food, and mixed, just in case. And so the first soft opening, I want to say was at like 70-ish%. The one with hummus won. And then at night, I was trying to rub it in Usama's face. He brought up a good point. Sometimes some of us Arab can be very nationalistic. And what I mean by that is, يعني أنا من هون, that's how we make it, أنا من هون. So Usama said, how about this? Instead of, because we said which one had hummus, which one had food, which one was mixed. So he said, let's, in our next few soft openings, let's say falafel A, B, and C. Don't tell anyone what it was. We did that. And I'm not gonna lie, by like 85%, everyone actually picked the food. And this was for like this was like 5 or 6, soft openings that yani everyone chose the food. And so I put my head down and said, "Khalas, let's just go with the food." So I lost that battle, but I won the shawarma battle because يعني تعرفوا سوريين.
مصر أم الدنيا.
I don't know if I should share the Abu Anas story or.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll share that one, then I'll kind of pass it to Usama about the
So
food.
you're taking all the good stories.
I'm sorry. You want to tell it?
No, it's all you.
So when we first opened up, because San Diego has the largest influx of like Syrian, Iraqi refugees. So when we first opened up, even though we were born here, our first language was Arabic because our parents were immigrants. I mean, I think until today, my parents don't speak English, they've been here for like 40 plus years. But so Arabic was our first language. So we felt obligated, like, hey, let's help and hire mostly refugees because, we speak the language, they're integrating with the culture. That could have been a show on its own. That could have been a show on its own. The refugees working here, it was good, a lot of good times. But I remember in the beginning, we used to only be open Monday to Friday. We kind of were taking things a little bit slow, and we make everything from scratch. And I'll let Usama break it down. So we were closed Saturday, Sunday, so it was like clockwork. Every Sunday night, for some reason, 10 o'clock at night, on the dot, I get a phone call from our first guy that we hired. His name was Abu Anas. Very nice Syrian guy. He's still around. He still comes by. And he'll have to tell the Baduna story later. But so he would call me every Sunday at 10 o'clock. And I can say it in Arabic because it sounds a little better and then translate it. But he would say, he'd call me, Mahmoud كيفك? أبو أنس الحمد لله شلونك؟ لا تخلي أسامة يساوي الحمص. خليني أنا أساوي الحمص. And I'm like ليش هذا أسامة بلا مؤاخذة مصري. المصريين ما بيفهموا بالأكل. قال نحن سوريين نغمض عيوننا وبتطلع أطيب صحن أكل. So literally every Sunday.
Wasn't even my recipe.
So every Sunday, the same phone call. And the thing is, what we were kind of strict about was consistency. I don't care if you're a good restaurant, bad restaurant, mediocre. As long as you're consistent, that's how you keep people coming when they know what to expect. But the thing is with a lot of these guys, they don't go by measurements. So like they're making whatever it is, a little irsha this, irsha that, ما بعرف شو, شوية بطيخ, this and that, and it's never the same. So we always, let Usama do it because he followed the measurements to a T. So our hummus was always consistent. But I don't know if you want to kind of break the food down and then tell the Baduna story.
Funny, Abu Anas actually, there's now a sandwich that's kind of actually named after him in his honor. Because one time, so we had very much a build your own style of a menu to allow folks to just kind of come in and decide what they want on their sandwich. So we have these tickets, the customer orders at the register, they say what they want, and then you have a ticket obviously that says, the different ingredients that are going to go into it, the toppings on a sandwich. And so I was making a sandwich one day, a few months after opening, and Abu Anas is standing behind me, yelling at me like, Usama, hot baqdounis, like put parsley.
But not to cut you off, this is while the line is out the door. It's during lunchtime. This is our prime time. I'm on the register. There's like 30, 40 customers in line. Allahu alam how many
And we have
tickets.
an open kitchen, so it was a very small, intimate space.
So they're just like the customers are looking over you.
Yeah, and I'm like, Abu Anas, ما فيش بقدونس على ticket.
Like they didn't ask for
order baqdounis. I'm not gonna put baqdounis. And he keeps going at it. حط البقدونس. I'm like, Abu Anas, there's no baqdounis on the ticket. I'm not putting parsley. And he gets a little angry and upset. And he goes, ما في ولا شاورما ما في ولا سندوتش شاورما في كل سوريا بدون بقدونس. I was just
on the top of his lungs though, very loudly, and customers are looking at him like, is this guy okay?
And I'm just like, I'm sorry Abu Anas, ما طلبوش بقدونس مش هحط بقدونس خلاص. Yeah. But we ended up naming shawarma sandwich the OG after him because he was the OG of Tahini. Abu Anas was, and it's a
beef sandwich with you can
baqdounes.
guess with
Yeah.
baqdounes.
Yeah, a very just traditional Syrian style shawarma sandwich. And from that kind of was actually a section of our menu, which actually leads to probably my favorite item on the menu, which is the Esquire pita. And that was a way in which I would always have my sandwich at lunch, which was a chicken shawarma with garlic, sriracha tahini, French fries, parsley mix, tomato and pickle. Just kind of a simple, sweet sandwich with a little bit of a kick to it. That was always my go-to.
And I feel like that one has become the most popular because that's how we made the sandwich when we were on the episode of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. So we made the sandwich that way, which we call the Esquire, after him because he's a lawyer. So that one's probably become the most popular sandwich. And then my favorite sandwich, I kind of just go old school. Just chicken shawarma, garlic, pickles, French fries. Have a nice day. Extra toasted. But yeah, so that's kind of like my favorite way to go. But especially here in America, people love their variety. They love their options. So we, kind of have our traditional menu, and then we also have, like our menu is very simple. It's only 3 proteins, falafel, which we never cook till you order. So it's always fresh and crispy. Chicken and steak shawarma, which we're, cutting throughout the day. So between those 3, you can do a pita pocket. We actually do the bread every hour. So we're always making a fresh batch of bread. So you're always getting fresh pita. Or a rice bowl. Southern California, very popular to see things in a rice bowl. So it's yellow basmati rice. And then salad is the third option because we get a lot of people trying to cut carbs. So they stay away from carbs. So pita sandwich, rice bowl, salad between the falafel chicken and steak. And then we have a couple of appetizers. If I were to rank them by popularity, I'd probably say the halloumi cheese is very popular. It's just cheese, halloumi cheese that we fry, serve it with some fig jam on the side. Our tahini fries may be the most popular appetizer. It's basically French fries that we coat or that's coated in flour to help keep it crispy because we put shawarma on top or whatever protein they want, and then tomato, onions, bell pepper, olives, peppercini, feta cheese, garlic tahini, and so that would be the most popular appetizer. And then we have your hummus, falafel, za'atar pita chips, things like that.
I'm the lawyer in the relationship.
So I have to watch what I say because it will be held against me.
Yeah, but I think it kind of just we tend to gravitate towards our strengths. Very much a business partnership is kind of like a marriage or a relationship in many ways. But I think the one thing is we really work to balance each other out within that. And in many ways, actually, my legal skills do come into play. I do a lot of the back end work. Mahmoud deals a lot with the front end, staff, customers, things like that, and I'm usually behind the scenes. So often, actually, a lot of customers don't even know who I am. I'm just some random guy that's out here working off his laptop.
To kind of jump, speak a little bit more about that. Yeah, so I was, a criminal justice major. I did a ride along with a police officer when I was in college. Fell in love with the idea. Felt like that we need more police officers out there, and so that was what I was chasing. Finally got into the academy, but we had started the farmers market, and it was kind of meant to be. It was just the business was taking off. We were getting such good feedback, so I ended up kind of dropping out of the academy, and then we continued to pursue this, and like Usama said, our skill sets kind of complement each other. So all the things I'm horrible at, he's amazing, and vice versa. So he does a lot of the back end stuff, all the legal stuff. Very essential, to our, because we're trying to grow this brand, and so he plays a big role in that. And then I'm kind of more on the operational side, dealing with the staff, with the customers, things like that, making sure the food is made by the Syrian hands. Just kidding.
So when it comes to really blending our two cultures together. I'm a believer that culture is something that's dynamic. It changes over time. There was probably a point in time where within Arab culture, certain things just didn't exist, right? And then through the merging of cultures, you end up creating these fusions and what ends up being adopted by the population en masse. And I think for us, a big part of Tahini was also staying true to the ideals of Arabi cooking and Arabi culture, but at the same time also finding ways to take what we love, both from what we grew up with in America, and combine it. From that, you got things like sriracha tahini, which at the time people were like, this is so strange. Like, why are you combining these two things? Up until they had it, and then they'd be like, okay, I get it now. And I think that is something that sometimes people might see as almost like blasphemous culturally. It's like, you can't change something that we've been doing this way for hundreds of years or however long it's been. But really, by exploring within your own culture and other cultures, you're able to come up with some pretty cool ideas. And now I've seen spicy tahinis becoming a thing in many Arab countries. So I if anything, I think we're kind of pushing the limits forward on certain things while still staying true to specific ideals within the culture too.
لازم تشوفي جوا مهضومين لذيذين مثل ما خبرتك عن جد شو هالتنين قديش مهضومين هالتنين مع بعضهم بيشتغلوا بيتسلوا and they created something out of passion.
مش أهضم منا.
عنا البوكيت لودد بوكيت اللحمة السلادات فرايز رايس وغير شيء حلوم زعتر شيبس لودد بولز. الامريكان ار سوبر لوفينج ات ناتشرلي فيجيتيريان باغلبيه الاوقات.
انت قلت لي شغله وقت وصلنا على امريكا، قلت لي الامريكان كثير بيحبوا ياكلوا ان بول.
صح، انا بسميهم ذا بول سوسايتي.
ايه واكتشفت معك انه مزبوط.
عندهم ذا فرايز بول، فرايز طحينه وخضره اون توب، هيك اللي ما بده لحمه ذا فيجن بول.
فيجيتيريان جبنه منا فيجن، بس طبعا بعدين بتعرف انه بالكومنتس في عالم
اوبس صح مزبوط.
فيجيتيريان
طحينه وبطاطا كثير طيبه مع بعضهم.
عن جد؟ ايه مثل الحمص والبطاطا
100%. And then comes عندهم حلوم ستيكس كثير مهضومين.
ولا شو؟ صراحة كنت قاعدة شفت منظرهم حبيت.
لا they're good. حلوم مع فيك جام.
الحلومة طيبة، يعني
طب.
كيف معمولة كتير طيبة، بس هي الحلومة منا مالحة منا
Nicely crunchy.
أنا بدي أدوقها مع فيك جام.
Very good. Exceptional. And then ما رقشنا بعد اليوم.
شكلها قوية.
Very good. زعتر كراكرز or chips. حلوم. طعمية مصرية. فريش بريد.
زعتر كراكرز هيدي حموصة.
سوبر فريش بريد. عشان كاسة لبنة هلا مع زيت زيتون.
هون كمان لبنة.
لبنة وين ما كان لبنة؟ لبنة على الترويقة، لبنة كل دقيقة، لبنة. Very good. Good job. يلا for the road. For the road.
So the Knefeh, we have two types, the khishna and the nama. Of course, you can't go wrong with either one. We make them from scratch here in-house, and we make it to order. So we don't have the big sawani of Knefeh, like the big tray of Knefeh. We don't do that except if it's like for a special event. So we'll do it for like a wedding or any other type of birthday celebration, whatever it is, a party at someone's house. We'll come and we'll do the big trays. But otherwise, we do the small trays to order because we're a coffee shop and we do desserts. We like to do it to order to keep everything fresh for each person. This area was an area that never had specialty coffee, and for us, we've always been big on coffee. It's what kind of fueled the growth of Tahini. It fueled us through a lot of long days and long nights here at Tahini. And so for us, when we had the opportunity to open up a coffee shop, it was a no-brainer because one of the things that most of our customers, especially complained about, was the fact that we had great food, but there was no dessert or coffee after. So we said, you know what, let's combine the two and go for it. And so we ended up opening up a few years back. Hopefully this is we opened up a few years ago, and it's been a great ride so far. And we just introduced the Knefeh not too long ago.
Wow. Chai أخضر nitrogen cold brew. That looks white.
A lot of fresh banana.
Super flavorful, aromatic, sweet. Wow, that's nice. أول مرة بشرب هيك شيء. New to me.
Yeah, شاي مغربي بس على cold brew.
Amazing, super refreshing. خرج منها ينعمل منها بوزة. ترى بس فور لاست جايب لك هدية سوليتير.
ريحة أحلى من السوليتات.
قديش حلوة العلبة؟ كنافة بالإنجليزي كنافة بالعربي. And the experience. It's not an iPhone حياتي بس يعني عنا كنافة خشنة، كنافة ناعمة انعملت هلا على مينوت. Feels so nice.
طيب هات أنا عملت كومباريسن مع مختة هاي، شو رأيك؟ تنغط؟
برافو يا شباب! برافو يا شباب! اوف العسملية الخشنة عظيمة، جبنتها روعة، سويت اند سولتي على القد. برافو.
لا هاي نحن لأنه كلبنانية معودين على هيدا أكثر من هاي.
برافو برافو
بس
برافو.
هي واو.
سوبر ويل دون. يلا ختامها مسك لكن توصلوا شاورما قهوة تحلية وبتفل فول باكج. طب
لا كثير طيبين طحيناتهم.
برافو.
كثير طيبين.
بنفتح لهم محل وحدهم. طحينة فنجان
كنفنجة.